So hello everyone, on Monday welcome to my review of Inuyashiki episode 2. This is amazing. This is an easy 10 out of 10 for me. This might be one of the best episodes I've seen in my life, for episode 2 at least. And I really want to emphasize my meaning with that. It's like, this episode is so good. It's amazing. But I would say, sure, there are better episodes in all the animes, right? But they are usually way later than the final. So like you watch this anime for like 3 years, then this character died, right? Like that's a lot of investment. This has so much feel, this episode, for being episode 2. And I think this anime is brilliant because I guess it's not so much about the characters, it's more about the actions, right? So it's so good writing because like I rewatched the episode once more after watching the review quickly, right? And I sometimes for me I get more emotional the second time when I see scenes, even though I know what's gonna happen. It always like has me more. I get more sad or more hyped and so on. And when I watched through the episode, right? I watched the time and so on. I got to the scene where he's stuck in a car, and that really got me. The first time I watched it, I was like, this is sad." The second time, and you just watched it for this review here, that I am almost crying just thinking about it. That is so sad, and I think it's so brilliant done, right? Because that is something that, you know, I'm a big fan of, obviously, like Marvel and other, you know, DC comics as well and so on, right? And generally manga and anime, superheroes and, you know, heroic people and so on. And there's a good scene there because you see him in a car and it's like he can hear his screams. It's like, don't kill me. And then, you know, he hears the kids like, "Oh, okay," like, "Oh, I had my fun." And it's like, no, don't kill him. And he understands that he's gonna kill her, right? Because like when he says that, he gets he's bored of this thing. He's gonna kill her. And he's like, don't do it. And he seems like slams his head into the wheel of the car. That scene is so good. It's one of the most dramatic scenes I've ever seen in my life. It's like, and I think the scene with the kid in the bathroom, because later was also, it's one of the gruesome I've ever seen. But I think that was the hard thing for me, at least, because it's such a, because that is one of the more like emotional things. Because the other thing is very, very like gruesome, right? Like, okay, this kid is like getting drowned by his father. Like, it's a very horrible scene. But the scene in the car, I think that feels like a realistic, like, very, because the anime is a lot about, I feel like, nihilistic melancholy. It's a lot about it's like horrible, you know, like the depression of the world sucks, right? And that seems like, I'm in this car, I have powers to fight and save people, I can hear someone's getting killed, and I cannot save her because I'm stuck in traffic, right? Yeah, and it's like that scene is just like, that scene is so powerful because he can't save her because he's stuck in traffic. Right, he might be able to run something like a machine later on, I guess, or fly if you look at the intro. But yeah, for now, for him, the fastest way to get him was the car. So it's like he has Superman hearing, and he just hear people die. Like that's just horrible. Yeah, you can't save them. You just hear them somewhere around, right? And it's like, yeah. So I think that was a extremely powerful scene, extremely well done, and you definitely took what was best for episode 1 as well, and taking from those scenes. So I think that was really, really good. But otherwise, I think the episode for me was that the main evil guy now, right, hero. He's a really good psychopathic character. I think I hate it when psychopathic characters are shown as some kind of crazy serial killer and so on, right? Because that's what really psychopath. Psychopaths usually don't do crime and so on, right? So he's a very, very like psychopathic person. He's all the cliche psychopathic, like real cliche psychopathic things, like all the traits. And he gets superpowers, and he's like, the hero, too much work. He's funny as killing people because like that's more fun. But I think it's really well written because first of all, he's willing to go to his friend that lives, what I can understand, like far away. I somewhere out in like the suburbs or something like that, right? So it's kind of Mendok City, kind of like a nauseating. I have to go there. It takes like an hour on the commute. It's like not that good, right? But he wants his friend, and then next scene he's willing to like kill 20 people on the street for fun, right? And turn on the porn and so on. And some people say, "Oh, that's not casual." No. For me, trust me, like I'm an expert on it. No, but seriously, I think that's like he's a very, very well written psychopathic character. But that makes perfect sense that he would spend a lot of time and effort to like get his friend back in his life, right? Because he's obviously very selfish. Like, it's about, for him that makes sense because there's something worthwhile. Yeah, but he couldn't like bother saving a kid or whatever. He was like, yeah, and talking about like, "Oh, I saw this guy commit suicide." It's like, what happened? Train what do you do? Oh, nothing. It's like, I don't do anything. Like that makes complete sense. Like he could spend hours trying to get his friend back because that, makes his life better, right? This narcissistic thing there. But saving some random, I'm gonna do that. Like that's an effort for me. I just walk along. It can cost me time. I better just walk. Yeah. So that's just a brilliant way to do it there. And one other thing which I really, really like then is that a typical psychopath has very good cognitive empathy, but very, very low, if any, emotional empathy, which means they're very good at understanding people's emotions, but they don't care about it. So something you hear possibly, oh, they have no empathy. That's completely wrong. A psychopath is usually better, much better, I would say, but generally much better than a normal person's empathy, right? But they don't care about it. So they understand, what X or Y would do and so on, and they do it anyway, or they abuse it. Yes, that's the psychopath. And also why an evil psychopath, because they don't very few to actually do bad stuff, right? But if they are evil, like the main character here, they are way worse because they will do it like, oh, I know exactly what triggers you, and I will use that in my advantage, right? So typical thing there. But that being said, a typical cognitive empathy master is really good at understanding a character's emotions in like a manga or an anime, because they read the stuff right and you can really feel that, and like you really get into the better cognitive empathy you have, the easier you have to relate to a character's current emotion that you have formed in a storyline. So you can like, okay, I see this old man and I start almost crying when he's in the car because he can't say everything. That's a cognitive empathy trait there. So that the main character, also the main antagonist, I guess, or side main character, whatever, that he is so into manga and anime, but especially manga, One Piece and so on, that makes perfect sense. As a psychopath like this, like I'm a serious, don't go and kill your friend, don't be afraid your friends to like manga now, but it's like, that is like a very typical trait for a psychopath. It's like, he's really into manga, his best friend is really into manga, they love talking about manga, he kills these 3 people, right, and then Dr. Kobe, he's like, I was talking about manga with you before I kill you. Like that's completely obsession with manga there. That's typical psychopaths. Here I sit here with my YouTube channel about anime manga. No, but seriously, it is very psychopathic, and don't have to be psychopath. But I mean, a psychopath tends to have really high empathy, right? Cognitive empathy, and I would say he has really high cognitive empathy, right? But he has zero emotional empathy, which is like, class case psychopath 101 right there. So it makes perfect sense to me. It really does. So I think that was very, very well written, in my opinion. His characterization is very, very realistic in that sense, right? And this anime is about realism, right? It's about normal people that have shitty lives and then they becomes a cyborg. So I think it makes perfect sense too, because it's like he's a psychopath, he's clearly a very, very psychopathic person, and then he gets this like superpower. And instead of saving people, which he might do, psychopaths have to turn evil because of powers, right? But it's kind of like, why would I do that? I can just keep it. It's more fun. So I think that was very, very, very well written. All his behavior, talking to the husband, right, to the father in the bathroom. Also, I think the writing here was amazing. It's one of the best writing I've seen in years. I felt. No, but really, I think it's like, wow, this is so on point. Like every scene with Hero is really on point. I'm like, the author is probably a psychopath. That's how I feel. Like it's really, really on point. Like every scene with him makes so much perfect sense. I think it's brilliant. I think it's really, really brilliant. But let's talk about scenes then. As what I mentioned, I think that immediately is such a big thing that he's like I would say that he's one of the best written psychopaths that I've seen in for a long time. I mean, that's probably one thing I can say for sure. Like I haven't seen a good psychopath character for a long time. So I don't know. So, evil characters, but not like this. He's very, very well written. Amazing. Anyway, let's go to the scenes then. That I really liked. And I will say this first though. I loved that his best friend is into guns, right? The author's older work. And I read Guns, and it turned pretty crazy after halfway there. But it was really good in the beginning. The anime was pretty good. And then it kind of had this like anime ending that wasn't very strong, but that being said, I liked it. It was like really, really shoehorned in there. It's like Guns, she's so pretty. Guns is like Guns is the best. So it's like people on the net don't like Guns. So it's like no, they're wrong. People on the net are wrong. It's like I used to love that. That's so shamelessly like he's like, the author is like, people complaining about my own manga. I'm gonna write it in here and be like, no, you're wrong. My manga is awesome. I love that, and that was really funny. At one point I want to mention again here, directed scene by scene, then, is that I really enjoy that. I think it's really good that they don't do this kind of weird thing that anime is like, oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Two Piece or something. Like they keep saying, they just go with names like One Piece, like, yeah, wouldn't you rather do Nami than her? Like that. I was like, right, it's like, yeah. Because last episode they mentioned that they live next to Oda Sensei, the opposite author in One Piece, Ishida Oda. And here, of course, it's like, well, who would you rather do, that girl or Nami? He's like, it's like, yeah, I would rather do Nami, yeah. And then, of course, later on, it's like, what's your favorite? Oh, One Piece and Attack on Titan. It's like, yeah. Zoro, yeah, it's a great character. It's like that. I just love that they are not even trying, right, to pretend something else. I think that's really good. I think that makes it better. Guns do the same thing, by the way. I mean, Guns is like 10 years old now, more, right? But I think they did the same thing with Guns, with a lot of stuff. For example, there's a Bleach reference to Guns, like they like Asteroids, they open to Bleach and so on, or the band, and stuff like that. And they also refer to that. So I think that makes it better, right? I think it makes it a little better. It makes it actually, this is our world, but they have, powers now. These two people. More is no more world. And they also make it sadder, because every scene is like, oh, life is bad. But anyway, sorry for the little spin-off there on the One Piece scene. But I mean, generally, I think those scenes were good. Like that scene, talking to her was a great scene, right? I haven't even talked about the bathroom scene again, I guess, because that's so gruesome. Yeah, the bathroom scene, I would say, obviously second best scene after, for me at least, after the car scene. I see people slipping that around. But I think that scene, I think it was really strong. It was a great scene. But it was more on the, wow, this is really horrible, right? It's like, this is a horrible bloody scene where the water is all bloody, so it's all red and it drowns because his father's weight is weighing down. And that was a really horrible scene, like horrible in a good way, I guess, like quality horrible scene, and it was really strong. But I think it's I still think the costume was better. The costume was more emotional, I would say. It was very well written. But yeah, the bathroom scene still is one of the most gruesome scenes I've ever seen. The next scene after that, which was really good. I mean, all scenes were really good. This episode was like on point every damn second. But one scene I would say was really good as well was, of course, when he was in the door. I loved that. I was like laughing / feeling is horrible. Yeah, because he's like, he enters the house, and I was like, oh yeah, this must be his house. And that's his mom, right? And of course, he's gonna be super nice now when he's home, because he's a typical psychopath, so he's gonna be nice to his family, because they help his life better, right? He's gonna be nice to his mother, but then the kid, other people, and he's like, who are you? He's like, bam, you're dead. I was like, what? Yeah, so that scene was awesome too. That scene was awesome in a funny way, that he just enters the house and it's like, oh, hi, mom. Yeah, that was great. Because I didn't see it coming. I loved that. And of course, before that, I was a little bit interested, because they were doing this spinning thing, like, yeah, spinning around, doing this, that. And obviously, that was, he could, like, just randomize a house. Like, he just went out in the neighborhood, just, like, spinning around, and the kid people gonna die. So, that is really, that's a really strong thing to, also, again, on his, like, psychopathic murder spree, because what is the worst thing you could do when you want to kill people, right? If you don't do like a man, one of the things, I should say it probably. But yeah, what's one of the worst things? No, but like not actually how you do it. But I mean, if you would do that, a lot of people argue that the worst thing is that you will just kill people at random, right? You will just go around and you will just mayhem, typical terrorist mayhem. It's usually worse when it's just at random. If you go and kill someone that, okay, this guy bullied me, so I kill him, then it's like, it's not justifiable, but people can understand, okay, he was a bully, and you had a bad life, and he broke your leg, and people can understand it more and feel like, okay, he didn't have to die, but they can understand your context, right? So when people do mass shooting and they just go and like kill people completely at random, that is more evil, right? I would argue for that. This maybe people disagree, but I would say that's probably more evil when you just kill innocent people, right? That's the most evil, when you just go and kill. Well, okay, he does it at random, so it's that. I don't know if it's more evil if you kill people that you know are good people, like you kill people that actually you know are good people, like people like doctors or whatever, or is it more evil if you kill people completely at random, because they don't have to be innocent, I suppose. But I think it's a little here fine line there. There's two different, but yeah, but that's a different thing, right? Because what he's doing is basically he keeps people at random, so they obviously are innocent generally, but it could be a little person, I guess. But still, that is the random thing, getting random innocent people most often than not, right, makes it really, really evil. It's very much like, oh, I just want to see people die. I'm gonna pick people that completely random, you just kill them as well, and you see what happens, if they feel something, right? So I think that was brilliant as well. It really also enforced his psychopathic behavior and his whole evil demeanor, right? So that's even spinning around there. I didn't realize at first when I saw it until he entered, of course, the house, but I killed the random woman. But that is also a very, very good scene then, because it shows how evil it is. It's like, oh, I'm just keep random, yeah. So really, really good. I would say that the only bad stuff the episode, but I would call it bad, but it's at the beginning, right? When he's like gets his friend or someone. It's just kind of like whatever, some guns jokes. They look like comedy more than anything else there. It wasn't bad or anything. It's like halfway or so, right, after he left his friend, and he goes kill people. I mean, that was just so amazing. That was like, such a good episode, right? So at the beginning was a build-up, so nothing wrong with it. But obviously, those scenes were a little weaker because they were build-up scenes, and then we get to the real stuff. So, but that's nothing wrong with that. He has to be built right. So we've never seen him before, really. Was his person in the manga? You have to get the person right. So. Nothing wrong with that. But anyway, yeah, this is definitely an 11 out of 10 episode. The only issue I could have with this anime now is that they might go into too much battle now, right? Like they might fight now much more, and that could take away this like the emotional part. Obviously, this episode was good emotionally, like stuck in a car, stuck in traffic. That was a great part. That kind of emotion, not the part with like, oh, I should rock, so that won't be interesting. It might be interesting, but I was saying that won't be as good probably. So. Hopefully it won't be too much like a random short, but I don't think it's going to be at all, but I'm just saying that. Well, yeah, last thing I was going to forget, we do see his best friend with Inuyashiki in the opening, going next to her, and the phone is clearly him in the opening, so I'm guessing they're going to team up and defeat the evil kid hero, right? I think that makes sense. He's obviously a favorite friend now, knows that he's crazy and will kill people, and I think him and the old man is going to meet up somehow, right? And they're going to team up to defeat him. I think that's going to be a thing. It is given by the opening, so yeah, some foreshadowing in the opening. So anyway, see you guys next week and have a great day.